Facebook Live. How do we start? Is there somebody on there yet?
Good morning. Hey guys, so we just finished TGIM, and truth be told, this has been a friend of mine for over 4 years, and this is the first time that I've come down here to experience in person what's been created. And thank you for allowing us to come. So the last couple of videos, we got a lot of responses because it seems like people have a misconception about why Herbalife, or they just don't even understand what that has to do with. There's Herbalife and there's someone like a man like Style Bell, the person, but what is the bridge and what does that really mean? And I know for me, what I've realized about staying power and why I still continue to do this business, take the products, it's really the community and the love that you feel, and I just feel like this man resonates that. So I wanted to take the time to just give him a platform, just to kind of explain misconceptions or people just not knowing what they don't know about why would someone like a Style Bell be committed to a company like Herbalife.
Well, thanks, Tim. But just to be like is real as I can get with it. I don't know another way to keep it when it comes to this. Is I believe it starts with who you are as a person, and the connection comes from your story. And that's why I believe, like, in my heart and my soul, that everybody's story matters. You know, I really believe that where you came from, like, I'm very clear that there was a day in my life where I was 26 years old, and that's not a old age or anything like that, but somebody can relate to that, of being like right before you turn 30, and I had this idea, like, if I'm 30 and if I'm still sleeping on the futon and riding a bicycle with no driver's license and no money in my account, and still in my roommate's juice, just to be able to, like, and filling it back up with water. Like, I was like, if I have to do this for the rest of my life, like, I don't want to do this. And I remember the day I was riding my bike and it started to rain. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and I got a flat tire. And I remember starting to cry because in my apron I had $14 after working 5 hours and giving all I got to that 5 hours. And I remember what it felt like to have nobody I could call. You know, and I remember what it felt like to just say, forget it, I give up. And so for me, that is something that connects me to why I said yes. And I think every person has their story. Every person has that story to, like you have your story right now. You're probably thinking about it right now. Like, I remember the day that I had this, or, you know, even having money but not having a time. You know, there's people that I remember, like, you know, having a birthday party for my niece, and I really wanted to go, and my job wouldn't let me have it off. And I remember what it felt like to be at work that day. It wasn't about the fact that I couldn't, but I was at work, and guess what? The restaurant was slow. And I had no tables for about 3 hours. And I remember what it felt like to have to stand there still as I knew my niece was celebrating her birthday and sending me text messages saying, I wish you was here. And so for me, that's the bridge. It's not about the brand or the story. It's about how you felt that day. And at that point, I believe anybody with a soul starts to search for something, or they give up. Those are kind of like the two options for most people, is they search or they give up. Or they start something and they still give up. And so the bridge for me was feeling that and promising myself, if I ever find something that gets me out of this, I'm gonna go at it. Or to be riding their bike like I was, or to be having the money but not the time like I had to, then I think anybody at that point would be looking for something. And maybe it could be, you know, Herbalife as a vehicle for them.
I think for me, and for so many other people, like I do resonate with everything that Style's saying. I mean, I was at every job you could think of. If you go on Sunset Boulevard, if you ever come to Los Angeles, in Hollywood, and you go from like Western all the way past Crescent Heights, all the way into Hollywood, into West Hollywood, I've worked at 12 restaurants on that one street. And so when he's talking about when he was riding his bike, and I just remember how many aprons I had, and I was always washing black because everything I wore was black. Either was a Starbucks outfit, a Katana outfit. I had fish juice all over me, smelling like coffee beans at the same dang time. So as small as that seems, I just knew one day, that's when I started to question, like, I know there's something greater inside of me. I know there's something more than smelling like coffee beans and fish juice all day. And that was like the thing that kept me going. And the reason why I even asked for you to share your story is I just got a lot of influx of people asking questions about, I didn't know that about Herbalife when we were talking about the questions like, how can you make know that someone's making money off of you. And we got deep into that, like, what do you mean? Someone making money off of me. Starbucks was making money off of me. The fish juice was making money off of me. But when I see people like Style, and the reason why I even asked, the consistency of every single Monday for over 4 years, how was it? It was like 5 years. It's like I clocked in and out of restaurant jobs for 7 years straight, whether it was Starbucks, Katana, Sushiya, Falcon, I could go on, Le Petit Four, like all of that. Because I was an actress slash dancer slash working at a restaurant or a Coffee Bean or Starbucks. Like that's what it really equated to, you know, and I knew that there was something more too. And when I look into his eyes and I'm like, damn, this man's been out here for over 5 years consistently. I mean, there was a guy named Mamadou out here that I just got to stand next to, and he was thanking him for always coming out because that's what he looked forward to. And how many times have you said you missed a Monday?
Since it's been 4 years, I probably missed, you know, less than or about 10 times.
10 times.
You know, but it still happens. There's only been one time we didn't have TGIM. But I think, you know, just if you are going to close, I think that's something that's important for most people to understand is this is life. And I think there's a separation because there's a title or there's a name or even a company. Like someone sees the word Herbalife or nutrition or shake or tea or something like that, and they forget that we're in life and it's going to happen every second. We can't get back the few moments we had earlier. And the energy that I have for it, it doesn't go away because I'm tapped into what happened to me and I'm tapped into what could happen to me. So what I love the most, and I think that this is the part that's hard to explain, is we love something that we have not yet received. And that's for society it doesn't understand it, because what happens is in life, if you work 40 hours or 50 hours or 100 hours, like I did at one point, you know what you're going to get. And there's some sort of security in that. Like if I work 100 hours, I'm going to get paid, let's say $8.75 an hour, times that, times this is what I'm going to receive. Now you have no idea what Uncle Sam's going to take, which is trying to figure out a puzzle or whatever that may be. But as an entrepreneur, what I love the most is, why do I go? Is because you get paid, I believe, more than just one way. And the moment you decide that, and that's where when everyone says, find what you love, like work at what you love. But I think, let me just say this without cussing or anything, but I think that's BS. Here's why I say that. I'll say the other side of it. Find what you love and work at it every day, but what you love you might hate some days. Is what I think they should say.
That's dope.
You know, and I think the moment they actually start to say the full sentence, then people will understand. Because I love this. Like I love getting up early and being here, but there are days where I don't want to come. And there are days where my voice is tired. And there's days where I just want to stay in the bed, although I love it. You know, and I think if people told someone that full story or that full sentence, then they would be more connected and they would be less quitters in this world. Like, you still love music because you had a bad album. Doesn't mean you don't love it. Like, look at the artist now. You're like, I don't want to say any names, but there's an album that just came out and I was like, this is terrible, you know?
Yeah.
But I loved his first album.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I don't think, in my mind, I pray that he doesn't quit because I can't wait for the next one. And I think most people are like, as an entrepreneur, they're like, do I love it? I don't know, because some days I don't love it. And I'm like, that's not true. Like, it's just that people don't tell you the full story. So stop listening to, and no offense to anyone, that you have those people that know all the quotes, but they don't know the other part of the quote. Like there's the book, and they just say the one sentence, and people get so connected to that, and they forget, like, yes, you love it. So for people that don't understand Herbalife, that makes perfect sense to me.
Right.
And it's going to take more people like us that continue to do what we do. And there'll be a time where we're interviewing with each other in 10 years.
Right.
And we'll be looking at this video and be like, dang, like I had my hair like that? Like, what was I thinking? Like, you know what I mean? It'll be so unique. It'll be so different. But if we continue to stay and we continue to thrive at what we're doing, and we don't look at it as it has to be perfect, I don't believe, and this is for everybody that's watching, they might not like hearing this, I don't believe that Herbalife is perfect. I just believe that it's better. And so it's easy for me to go after it. It's easy for me to wake up the next day. It's easy for me to be excited. When I wake up, and I don't know if anyone wants to steal this, I say I'm going to get 2 new people on my team, and I'm going to help 2 new people get healthy. Every day I wake up, I say that. And some days I help nobody. but there's days where I help more than 2 or 4. But it's so exciting because I don't know where they're going to come from. I don't know where I'm going to meet them. I don't know if it's going to be at a store or a grocery store. But the reward that I love the most, and I don't think anybody has said it like this, is I love when somebody has no idea how to do anything when it comes to health and fitness and living healthy, and then a week later they're like the guru of it, and they're giving you tips on what they should have for snacks. Because I have some clients that are like, what is a snack? And then now all of a sudden they're sending you snack options, and you're like, I didn't even know about that. Like, how great does that feel?
Okay, so one more thing. I mean, he said something really important that I truly believe in is people are people, whether you're inside of Herbalife or outside of Herbalife, and I want to give that real perspective. A lot of times a template or a company or a structure is judged based off of the actions of an individual inside of a company. And I want to just clear the air right now from my experience inside of Herbalife. It's better inside of Herbalife than not, for me, because of the tools and the people and the mindset that's being created because of the community. And a lot of times, and I've heard it as, Tara, you're different now. And it's a joy for me to be different now because I didn't know what I know now about the things that I was thinking before, the thoughts I had in my head, the things that I felt that I was entitled to things, or the person that I thought I was becoming, and I had no idea that it was because I was groomed a certain way to think a certain thing. So I went off in this direction, buying into the 9-to-5 mindset. And this is not to knock anyone in a 9-to-5, but it's just a perspective of there's actually something more outside. And so something Style said earlier today that I just wanted to give you some time to maybe talk about or reflect about, just as far as the state of what's going on in the nation. And I just went and I went to One Church LA. That's where I specifically said exactly what you just said today. About not being controlled by these rules or these conformities that we have set up, that there's something bigger inside of something outside. I used to be a victim, and this is me speaking for myself. I was a victim, I was entitled to everything, and then I blamed everyone for everything wrong in my life, but everything great came from me. And what I realized in Herbalife, because of the personal development and the people that I was able to be around, that now I have the chance to really see my flaws and put them on Front Street and be like, you guys, I still blame my mom for not hugging me. It's still something I deal with every single day. I would love to tell you, because I read the books and I read the quotes and I listened to the audio, that that's not still there. But there's something inside of me that I haven't decided to change or look at in the mirror. Like, Tino, actually, for some reason, you don't love yourself a little bit, or you don't think you're worthy, or there's something else there that for me to blame my mom, this has nothing to do necessarily with the business of Herbalife. It's the people that we're becoming. So with you just touching on just the overall mindset with us moving forward as the leaders of this nation, because I believe we are the next leaders of this nation, because of the distractions and the images and the propaganda behind why someone happens to be in an office right now. Not only do we get to pray for this person, not only do we get to celebrate their position because it is anointed, that office is anointed. Now the person gets to have a change of heart or whatever that looks like, has nothing to do with how we live every day, other than we're an example from what we get to stand up for and who we get to become in the world. So you said some really powerful things, and I just want to commend you for that, because it's so in alignment with, I feel like, the message coming from specifically someone like you that lives it and breathes it every day, missing 10 Mondays out of 365 days in a year, times how many years? 5 years. I'm not good at math, but if you have a calculator, that's a lot of numbers.
I think there's something that you say, like, if in my mind, if you don't grow, you die. I mean, that's kind of like, and I just said don't like follow quotes, but I really do believe, like, if there's no growth, then there's no progress, then it doesn't matter the amount of money that you make. If you make $1 million today and you make $1 million, the next day, and then it's always $1 million, eventually you're gonna want to make $1 million and one, whatever it may look like, or else you'll be like, and you see a lot of people with a lot of stuff, material things, and they're not happy no more because there is no progress. So I think that's one thing. And I think when it comes to politics, let me just say, like, I'm no guru of politics, and to be honest with you, I've decided to protect my soul and my mind and my spirit. So I didn't pay attention to everything. But what I will say is there was a day where I wasn't having a great day, and I was on my phone, like most people do when they don't have a good day. They just look through their phone, and unfortunately, iPhone has this newsfeed thing, right? And I looked at it and I clicked on a video, and I was watching the video But I decided to watch the video and not care. That's the first thing. So this remind, I'm not a guru at this, but and as I was listening to whomever, I said, that makes sense. And then the next person spoke and I said, that makes sense. And the next person spoke and I said, that makes sense. Now, I'm not attached to either one of those people, but in my mind, I was like, those things that they're saying make sense. But what I also said was, neither one of those people have control. And that was obvious to me at that moment. And it sounded like both of them were trying to sell me a car, right? And what they were doing was to tell me that this car is better than the next car. And if you get, like when I got my car, they said, if you get the package that has these rims and these rims, I was like, but is it the same car? You know? And I was like, well, I'm not attached to, if my brakes brake faster, right, I'm not gonna race the car, so I don't need racing brakes. He's like, but it'll look cooler. That's okay. You know, that's okay. Is the car still gonna perform? And it sounded like what I was watching was, it was still a great car. You know, and I don't want to associate our president with a car, but I don't know how else to say it. So for me, the next day I met a friend, and my friend wasn't happy, and I didn't know why. And I was like, "What's up, baby?" And he was just like, "Did you see what happened yesterday?" And I literally didn't even think about the president. I thought of whatever happened, like his dog died or something, and he's just like, "Such and such won." And I was, in my mind, I was like, okay, but why are you sad? Because this person doesn't have control. And it's the same when it comes to Herbalife. Like when I first signed up, they sent me 2 bags. And I had $90 right, and my account was negative. And that day I said, this is a sign for me not to do this. But that would have been allowing that circumstance to have control over me. So I decided, because I chose just the day before to do the opposite of everything I've done in my life, I said, all I have to do is call them and they'll return the bag, which they did. And, you know, unfortunately, Bank of America, for those of you, I'm not knocking Bank of America. If you're sponsored by Bank of America, but not only did my account go negative, I got charged another $25. Right. That took a little bit of time to get back. But once it came back, it was great, you know, and look what happened. And opposite the choice of what I made in the past. So what I would challenge people out there to do is, if you find yourself being fearful, if you find yourself being afraid, is to look at it and say, is this something that I'm creating, or is this the reality, right? And if you continue to be afraid, you will continue to get fear. So I just choose in my mind, until the day comes where I have to make a different choice, I choose in my mind to look at it and be aware in a different place. And I don't know if that makes sense to most people out there in the world, but that's how I see it. And I know for a fact, even if I knew either one of those people personally, they still couldn't make my life better. I still have full control.
And just one last thing, like as we leave now, you know, I just want to just personally just say thank you so much for who you've been in my life and in so many other people's lives. I know we give a lot of recognition inside of Herbalife, and that is a great thing about Herbalife too, is I know at Starbucks I got a bunch of little pins, but rarely did I get a raise, and if it was like 12 cents. And I knew I was more, in that moment, even worth more than 12 cents for that raise. Waking up,
but
getting
there.
But
it felt good to get that 12 cents.
But it felt good.
Let's just be honest. Like,
but it
you
felt
get
good
12 cents raise,
moment.
I'm fired up. You know what I mean? Now, I do want to get out of that, but
right.
I will tell you that I'm not just to say that.
Right.
12 cents is...
Right. No, 12 cents was amazing. But what I thought of was like, well, why not 13?
Yeah, why not 13?
Like, I don't have control over the cents. They tell me how much cents I'm worth. And that was what was impactful to me, is today I get to decide, am I worth 14 cents today? And I get to decide that. And that just goes back to your control. But, you know, I just want to thank you just personally for being someone that's been in my subconscious a lot. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but there was one time we used to build out of a place called the Motor Club under 2 phenomenal people, Mark and Jill Addy, who really created, from what I know, the healthy, active lifestyle inside of Herbalife, because I love fitness, anything fitness, athletics. Like, the backstories is, since I was 4 years old, I've been an athlete, and I knew it. Mind, body, and spirit, that's just how I was wired, and my parents groomed me that way from when I was on ice skates at 4 years old. So all I knew how to do was be a champion and win, and I didn't realize you could actually be a champion and win in so many other aspects of your life also. But I just want to I just want to thank you. You pulled me out at a time where I didn't need this support. And it was after a Saturday school, and I was walking to my car, and it was you and Jason Soros, another really phenomenal guy within Herbalife as well. And you pulled me aside, and for about an hour, you sat there and you told me the story about your bike. And at the time, I was actually considering going back and getting a part-time job, which at that time for me, I knew that that would be giving up a little bit and not believing in myself as much as I was. And you told me how much people really needed me or my energy and my smile, and you were very specific about the contribution, and then who just I was being as Tara, not Tara the athlete necessarily, not Tara the person that's good with her words sometimes, not Tara that shows up with, it was just something else that you really pinpointed, and I realized like that's the type of leader that I know I wanted to be. And whenever I even have Herbalife members coming or non-Herbalife people wanting to know about Herbalife, I want you to know that you've been that subconscious voice in my mind that tells me in a moment it's more than just the person that's doing things. It's the person you're being, Tara, because Style had told me that one day after he told me about his bike. So if that gives you anything, I appreciate you. Now that you've opened your doors in such a way, you've opened our hearts in such a way that I don't think you realize. Just your yes every single Monday has, I know, contributed to my staying power. Because I wanted to quit, y'all, lots of times. Not just at the beginning, like even after feeling successful or the checks coming on the 15th and the 20th, continuing to get more people healthy and telling myself, just get more people healthy, it's enough, and it's not. We are impacting the world, but you gotta pull from something deeper, and there's been a lot of times where that one conversation was the deeper moment, because the fact of the matter is you didn't have to say that. I'm not in your organization. You didn't have to pour into me in that way, and nobody told you to do it. It was a moment of pure gratitude that I really felt was coming from a place. So I just want to say thank you so much for that, and I've always seen you as that leader.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I think what I say is we don't talk about it enough, but the time will come where it becomes a testament to what people talk about, but there is more than one way you get paid.
I love that.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because there's a squirrel behind us. And there's a real squirrel right. And a moment ago he was right here, and as you were talking to me, you were like really deep, and I was like, I want to look at that squirrel so bad. But that's awesome. It just shows you that the squirrel is not afraid of us, and he's taking all the nuggets literally. So I'm excited. You guys. Let's get it.